Hi flosstube, welcome back to MJ Stitching Memories. I have just found that a video I tried to do yesterday did not cut off at about 20-25 minutes, and then it's still trying to upload it. So I don't know if it's ever going to go through. So I'm basically just kind of start from where I left off, and then if it never uploads, I'll just redo the first portion. So basically what I'm doing is I have one cross stitching bag with me. It has some whips in it. It has some planned new starts in it. And then it has some potential fabric that I may want to make as a conversion piece to do Mirabilia's Nightingale on. So it just depends on how far I can get in the video before it kind of cuts me off or runs out of whatever it's running out of now. It says I have plenty of memory, but that doesn't seem to be the issue. Anyway, enough of the ums. So I'm at a client's house, and I have a little bit of a break here. And I'm sorry, my eyes are a mess. I've been out in the sun. I got sun poisoning. And so I'm having a bit of a, kind of brain strain or anyway, I've had it before. I'm allergic to sunscreen is my issue. So I put sunscreen on because I'm going outside, and then I forget. That combined with the medication I take, I really shouldn't spend more than 20 minutes at a time outside, but I'm not always in control of that. So anyway, or out in the bright sun, I should say. So where I left off was I was trying to show this whip, which, there isn't much to it. This is basically, the beginning of a rectangle border, and this is for a piece called Snow Friends, and it has 3 snowmen with, big hats, and they're Millie, Willie, and Chili. I don't have pictures of most of these because they're on the phone that I'm filming on. So I've got to figure a way to fix that for future videos. But basically, this is all I got done in Mania. Now, kind of my goal in Mania was to do, roughly 200 stitches on quite a few new starts, 24 I think, and I think I made it to 18. And then the goal was in another group was to kind of finish everything you started in Mania in June, so that you don't really go into the rest of the year with a just exorbitant amount of whips. Because usually Mania creates, a huge increase in your whip numbers. So I like that idea, but I didn't get much beyond my 200 stitches on most of the projects. So I, was like, I'm never going to make it. I'm going to fail June. The group decided to say, okay, let's push it into, finish them in July. Everybody work on them, because they didn't realize how many people had started big projects. So let's work on them and try and get them to the point where there's anywhere from 400 to 200 stitches left, which is what they figured to be a daily average. So if you could get them down to 400 stitches left, so that you could kind of finish each day or every other day, finish them in July. So I did not work on most of these in June due to my schedule in life. So for me to get this finished, there's 3 of these. So this is a rectangle, and there's more of it to go. I think it actually goes down to, curving the... This is on 28 count Dove Gray even weave, which is a color I love, and I'm doing it 2/2. So it's going to be 14 count. So they're going to be pretty good size, and they're not 100% full coverage within the rectangles, but they have a lot of stitches. So I'm not going to finish it in July, but what I would like to do is finish one of the complete rectangles in July, and then maybe at least get the frames of the other 2 either started or finished, is kind of what I'm going to shoot for my goal for July. By the way, this is July 3rd, So I already am behind because I haven't put any stitches into this yet. So that's where I'm at. So this would be Snowman Friends, Millie, Chili, and Willie. The next one was a secret needle night from the Silver Needle, and I didn't realize I had been given this chart. I had some ladies I used to stitch with at the shop that closed in Plano, Texas, Threads That Bind, and they used to go up to Tulsa semi-regularly for secret needle night, or they would purchase the secret needle night pattern, and this was a complimentary or reduced. Anyway, the lady didn't end up doing it, so she gave it to me to do, and it's called Snug as a Bug. I don't have a picture of it because it's in there. So I took a picture of it, and I have since lost the original. So it is a flower and a little bug, and there's many different colorways I've seen people do it in. So I started it with just doing the words. Let's see if I can get this kind of focused. Snug as a Bug is all I have done so far, and that's in purple tones. The fabric is 16 count pink Aida. So that's all the farther I got in May, and have not worked on it again since. I would love to finish this one in July, but I don't know where I put its threads, so they're not in the same bag. So I will have to stash dive and see if I can come up with the threads, or rip it out and start over. I don't know. Another one that I started for Mania was the September Gnome. Again, I don't have a picture of it, but it says the word September, and then at the end it's a gnome. And basically this is all I got done is SEP and started the T. I didn't even get all the P finished. There's like a missed, I don't know if you can see it. There's a missed stitch there in the corner that's really only a half stitch that needs to be a full stitch, so I need to fix that. But it's I like it, and I want to finish this one in July, but I have so much to do on it. So if I can get, like, of course, all the word September done, and if I can get like him started, I'll consider that good progress, since I didn't work on it in June. And this one is on 14 count white Aida. The next one is Bob Ross, and I don't know the artist's name. So it's a picture of a replica of Bob Ross the painter holding a paintbrush like down, and then beside him an easel with a painting on it. So I had a scrap of fabric, and I don't know the count on it. I can't wait to get back to my measuring tape so I can measure the count. It's super, super, super small. And I sillily decided to start it over 1. I think I just wanted to make my eyes, I'm having eye issues, and I'm trying to really define what makes them happen. I know it's the later in the day I go, the worse they get. So if I can find a way to start doing my stitching after I'm awake, but before they get too tired, I'll have better success. Because once they get tired, I just can't see. I mean, I literally cannot see the holes in the fabric. It doesn't matter. It can be 14 count Aida, you know, bright white, or and I can't see the holes. So it's just something's wrong with my eyes. But this is how far I am on Bob Ross. So I have the painting done. Oops. I'm so bad about, I still have a needle in this one. Oh, okay. This is the one I worked on last night a little bit. So I had the blue and the green done on the painting before last night. And I had his blue, dark, let me just move this one thread out of the way, because this one's starting to bother me here. Sorry. get the needle out, and then I can get the thread out of the way. Okay. So where's the fabric? Okay. Here we go. Okay, so then I still have thread in the way. Okay, remove the needle out of the way so I don't stab myself. Okay, so then I had the dark blue of his pants done, and that's all I had done. That's all I had started for Mania. And then last night I finished the gray in the painting, all the gray, and then I put in his belt and his his arms that are going to be showing. I started on his shirt, and I did his belt, and then I started on his shoes, and that's where I'm at now. So I got a little bit done here in July, but not very much. I think it was like 75 stitches, but on this super, super, super tiny count, these super, super tiny stitches, I'm pretty proud of them. There's a few kind of wonky ones, but for the most part, I kind of like it. Not that I necessarily want to try and do something this small over one again, but do something different, not too bad. Okay, I had a couple of pieces of, I think I had 5 pieces of 16 count pink Ada that I purchased that was damaged. And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of trying to pick the least damaged portion and stitching on that, and then the rest of it will just be discarded. This one that I started is, I can't remember the name of it. It was in the last preview I did that I said I was getting ready to get started, as the dog sticking his tongue out. It's like, it has 2 patterns. One is, dog lover, and the other is, the dog and his liquor being his tongue sticking out. So I have the frame mostly done, and I have 1 paw print. So that's, not much of a start, but this is how much I got done in May for Mania. And these were, trying to get as much done in one day as you could. So, you're averaging 200. It's, dog can't hold his liquor. That's what it says. So, that's its bag. I don't know where its threads are. So, anyway, that's as far as I got on that one for May. I want to finish it for July. I didn't work on it at all in June. I want to finish it for July. And then I'd like to make a couple of the dog lover for various people that I have taken care of their dogs over the years. This is again down on another kind of damaged piece of 16 count. Oh, I'm looking at this. Yeah, 16 count pink Ada, and it's, can't remember everything it's going to say now. Okay, I've totally forgotten the name of the pattern and everything else, and because it's all in there and out of my brain, there's not a whole lot I can do about it right now. But basically, I have the start of some words that say never. It will say never hurt. So I have never and the HUR started, and that's as far as I got for Mania. And I want to try to finish it in July, just because I would like to try to do as many of them, finish as many of the ones I started in May as possible for the challenge. But this is one, if I don't finish it by July and it takes me later in the year, I'll be okay with that. Okay. There is another one that says I speak my mind because it hurts to bite my tongue. And this is as far as I got on it. So it says, I speak my mind because it to, and then my. So that's as much stitching as I got done in May on it. Again, it's on the same piece of 16 count. I have 4 projects on this piece. I haven't cut them because I don't know where the damage is, how it's going to affect where I need to cut it at. So the third one is basically just a little bit of border for right now, and I honestly can't remember what this one is supposed to be because it's in there. So anyway, this is how many stitches I got done for Mania. I would like to finish it. Where does it go? Yeah, it goes this way. I'd like to finish it in July, but I have a lot of stitches. If I'm going to finish these in July, I'm going to have to really get a move on. I don't have as many times away from home as I have had in June, scheduled anyway. So if that remains that way, I should be able to get maybe half of them done, and I would be happy with that. This will be a camper, and this is the part of it I have done. And this is what I got done in it for Mania, and I want to get this one done. This one would probably be easier than the green one to finish because it has less stitches, but they're not confetti, but they're not, once I get past kind of the big blocks of color, there's, I don't know, they may even out. So let's try and see how much I can get done. Okay, is that's everything in those bags? Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and do some of this stuff that I had done earlier because it doesn't look like it's ever going to load. So, Witchy Stitcher did a 6th birthday cupcakes release pattern, and I'm doing it on 14 count they call it silver Ada, but to me it just looks like light gray. And it has 3 cupcakes, and so I'm going to do all 3. Matter of fact, they're all 3 on the same fabric. I gave a little bit of space between them because I may look at trying to make them into more ornament style, as opposed to making them like a flat fold. So the first one is, I'm calling him Ghosty. So he's a white topped cupcake, or white frosting cupcake with, black eyes and mouth, and he's kind of like a ghost. And he's going to have another ghost here, and I think there's a third ghost, and I don't have all of his frosting on because I think I want to add a little bit of glow in the dark, and I might just do it over the top thread since I already have half of him. So I might go ahead and finish filling him in and then go over the top thread with an additional 1 strand of glow in the dark. Has anybody done that before? Like, will it look okay, or will it, because I don't have it integrated into the stitches, it's not gonna work. And then I'm thinking of maybe making the black ghosties have glow in the dark eyes or something. That's why I'm leaning towards kind of cutting these and making them into more ornaments, because I don't know that the I only have 1 color of glow in the dark, and I don't know if it's going to work on the other 2 patterns. So the first one I'm calling Ghosty, and he's probably half done. The next one is done. Yeah, he's done. And I'm calling him Frankie because he kind of looks like Frankenstein. He's got the bolts, and he's got, lightning bolt, and then he's got the bolts on his side of his head, and of course we love Frankenstein. And so he's got his mixed colors of green and browns in his frosting. He's got a little hat on. But I didn't know if, what about if I put a little bit of the glow in the dark? I know the problem is it's a white thread. So So if I put the white thread over the yellow, I don't think that's going to work. So I think I'm just not going to be able to really make him have anything other than maybe like go in and put his two eyes as glow in the dark. So, and then the third one's going to be, I think, a pumpkin. I think he's orange. And all I've got started on him is a little bit of the outline of his cupcake base. So now I didn't start these ones for Mania. These I started, of course I didn't write the date down here. When I started it, I put everything else. I think they were in March. I think this was part of like March Madness. So I started them in March, but I did work on them in May. So I don't know if I'm counting any of these stitches as part of Mania or not. So I don't have those on a finish list for July. I probably will try and have them finished for maybe Halloween. And I'm just pulling things as I come to them, so that's why there's no rhyme or reason. This is a planned new start. This is a Dufton kit of Scarecrow. Scarecrow Picture is what it's called. And I was desperately searching for threads on sale from Hobby Lobby when they had their like clearance of cross stitch, but really it was only like 2 types of threads and not every color of them. And then they had a few of these smaller kits on sale. They really didn't have what I was anticipating when they announced, oh, the great big huge, yearly clearance sale. So this is the kit. It comes with on the hoop already, and then it has all of the threads. I just have to sort them. So, and I already put its needle somewhere else so I wouldn't lose the needle. But so this is a planned new start. I think these are usually like $10, $12. I think I got it for like either $5 or $6. So that is a planned start. I'm a huge fan of Gene Wilder. There are a number. I like a lot of film stars. I do, but there are some that I just resonate. Certain characters or certain things about their real selves that speak to me. So Gene Wilder is just, and I have never been able to put my finger on it. There's just something about him. And he can play a variety of roles, and I really liked the majority of them. So, of course, my favorite role is that of Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka is a character that I think is often misunderstood. But there's something about him I just love. Of course, we all love Charlie, but there's just something about Willy Wonka that speaks to me. So I found a shop on Etsy. It's called Miss Peggotty, Peggotty. I think it's Mrs. Peggotty Arts on Etsy. And I just was looking for something else and stumbled across a couple of charts she had of various characters. And one was Mary Poppins, and there were some others. And I was scrolling through, and Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka jumped on the screen, and he went immediately into my cart and purchased. He was very reasonable, and so I went ahead. Now, it's not I don't think it's necessarily violating a copyright because it's not an exact likeness of him, and it is, not pixelized, but it's, I don't know. I'm not showing the cover because I'm just not sure. And I don't have enough of him done to where you can really tell what he is. But anyway, this is my Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka. So to give you a point of reference, I started in the lower left-hand corner because these were the colors I had. And because I started him like the night I bought him. So I started here, and I didn't have this blue yet. So I kind of was going this way, and then I said, well, I really want to This will complete the frame, and he'll be, you know, he goes farther to this side and up farther, but this is just how I have it folded. So you can see what I have done so far. And I am sorry about the hanging threads. When I am done stitching on a thread for the night, I don't cut it off. Sometimes I just leave it hang till I'm ready to go back to it. So it's not my true parking. It's just I get tired and don't want to do it anymore. So, but this starts kind of his sleeve. This starts kind of around his collar, and then this comes up and starts. There's going to be a half moon kind of a lot of oranges. His face is going to be here, and then his top hat is going to go, you know, up here. Well, there's some more, and then it's going to start to curve, and then when it gets about halfway through the curve, his hat's going to pop up through, and then it'll finish the curve around. So it's the purples and the oranges were what I had the most of in the stash to pull from to work on him with. So that's what I worked on, and then I found that I did have this blue, so I went ahead and put a little bit of this in. This was not a Mania start, but I did work on it in May. So he's not scheduled for finish for July. I probably am not going to work on him in July. I'm probably going to save him for like August, unless I get unless my team gets into a team that they're borrowing me in the Myth and Magic Stitch Wars. If we end up pulled into a round, an active round, I may go ahead and do this because it has some bigger blocks of stitching, and it doesn't have confetti. I guess I really don't want to use confetti projects in Myth and Magic because I make too many mistakes because I'm trying to stitch faster. This is a project I did use in Myth and Magic. I did start this. I don't know if this is a Mania start or the one thing I got to work on in June. I think it was the one thing I got to work on in June. 2024 is the year of the dragon, and there's a lot of designers who are making charts, and there's a lot of groups that are making events, and I have picked up quite a few smaller size dragon charts. Of course, I have my Bumblebee Dragon Lean that I could work on, and I haven't started any of those. And then I realized I had obtained the chart from Ingleside Imaginarium. Brittany is the designer, and it is the Prismatic Dragons, and it is her year of the dragon chart. And so I started to rant with this. So it's going to be the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet dragons. So I have the red dragon is done, orange is done. Yellow is missing a wing, so he's half done. Green is 3/4 of the way done. Well, I guess he's missing the head and the rest of his wing. And then purple is started, and then the big white dragon is started. So the white dragon is going to go all the way down the side, and he's going to go a little bit more and have his body and his head. And then his other wing is going to go all the way across over here, and then there's some depth to it. So I just haven't cut this off yet because I'm not quite sure how far. I've measured 2 or 3 times, got 2 different results. I think it's because it's black Ada. It's a little bit harder for me to determine exactly where I should be cutting, because I'm measuring by stitches instead of by inches, because I don't have the inches measurements. I'm just counting however many stitches, and then counting however many stitches, and then adding my border amount, which looks like it's maybe 1.5 inches. Maybe. I'm getting a little bit better at making it more than, 1/2 inch. So this is my Prismatic Dragons and how far I'm at on it. I think this was a June project only, so it's not on my finish list for July. Again, it's one, if I get called into play on Myth and Magic, it'll come back out. If not, I will skip it till August because I have so many stitches I really do need to get done in July, because I do want to finish some of these smaller, sorry for the crinkles, some of these smaller May starts so that I just don't have a huge amount of additions to my WIP number list. This is a May Starts called Bee's Knees. I don't remember the designer. Don't have a cover picture because the cover picture's in there. But this is his legs. And then it's going to be a bee. And then he's got a shirt, which is going to be, you know, bee color stripes. He's adorable. I love him. And I've seen him many times and passed him up. And then I had an opportunity to get him. So this is how far I got on Bee's Knees. He is one I want to, yeah, I do want to finish him in July. I put a few stitches on this in May. It has mostly been when I don't have anything else to stitch on for Myth and Magic, this has kind of been my go-to. It was also charted by one of the, by the admin in Myth and Magic, so it's just kind of it just seemed like a perfect piece. It's called No Evil Owls, and it's the character's Ollie Owl. And so this is the Hear No Evil, and he still needs the white around one of his eyes. And then the See No Evil, and he's done. And then the Speak No Evil, and he needs the rest of his head done and both of his eyes. And then they need something to stand on. They're supposed to be standing on a full tree limb. I miscounted, and so I have next to no border. I think it's, I don't know, 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, so I can't fit, if I fit the full tree limb, I'll have like no border. And I don't have a sewing machine, and I've tried to hand sew 2 pieces of fabric together, and I just can't make it work. So that's not a skill set I have. So I don't know if I'm just going to put like maybe 2 rows of brown and pretend it's a stand of some sort. So the other question is, these are the original 3 No Evils, but I have since heard that in older tradition they said there was a 4th No Evil, which was Do No Evil. So they represent that with an owl that is more like box shaped, like it's almost like he can't do anything. I'm not going to say a straight jacket, but it's almost like he's kind of just boxy shape. His ears are down, his eyes are closed, his feathers are down, his wings. So I did see where KLT Charting, which is the designer of this, did a Ollie in a Christmas gift box, and somebody has given me that pattern. So I was thinking maybe using that box style of him, and just not put the ribbons, use that kind of box style and put it over here because I have plenty of fabric to make him the 4th No Evil. Or should I just, when I get done with these 3, say I'm done and count it as a completed WIP? So buy in on that. Let me know what your thoughts are. Which way would you prefer to see this type of project done? Should I leave it at 3 or should I add a 4th owl? Almost to the end here. So, I have talked about this project in previous videos. I now have the fabric and the pattern in the same bag. Not all the flosses, but I don't think I had all the flosses ever kitted up for this anyway. I think I was basically just working from stash. So, but I had either the fabric or the pattern, but not both. Now I have them both together. I can't show you a picture of it because it is just the chart. It was designed by Gail French. I don't remember the name that she designed these under, but this is called Holmesy Hare's Hop, and it was in her Holmesy Hare group that this was available. So it's not something you can buy or purchase or obtain anymore. But I started on the upper border, so it has a bunny, and then flowers, and then there's going to be more, there's going to be another bunny over here. So Yeah, that's all the wider it's going to be. Is what, well, it's going to be like 5 stitches wider than the bunny. So, now we put the bunny on this side, so it's going to fit basically on this. Now it is going to be longer. It has a whole bunch of words, which I'm going to tell you what it says, and then at the bottom it has the same flower pattern, and then it has scissors, spool thread, and scissors, and then it has another flower. It's special because I love the designer. We got to know her in the little group. She participated in it. We got to learn a lot about her inspiration for Holmesy Hare and all of his friends, and I miss her. She just seemed to be a really lovely lady. I'm glad that there is a artist who has picked up who had picked up while she was alive the rights to make illustrated books of Holmesy and his friends and his adventures. So I think they're just illustrated books. I don't know if there's actually writing in them, but I want to go and search and find those books because Holmesy Hare and his friends are very important. So I'm just going to kind of hold this while I read this to you, and bear with me if tears start. But anyway, it says, whatever the distance, wherever I roam, with needle and thread, I'll make it my home. So this means a lot to me because I do travel a bit. I stay at other people's houses to help with companion their animals, and with my medical, sometimes I have to stay with people for them to help me. So I'm not always at home. I do try to make wherever I am feel like home. And how I'm going to start doing that now that I have all this together is I'm always going to carry this piece with me. Whether I work on it or not, it's going to go with me, and I will try to work on it at places that I can. There'll be some places I just can't stitch at because of the rules of the house, so to speak, or my timing, or there'll be times that my health will keep me from stitching. But this will be my reminder to embrace this, to embrace that home is wherever me and my needle are. So, and then that's just going to be one more thing that Holmesy Hare is helping out with. So, I did have quite a few other of his patterns that I lost in my second flood. So I had one flood of a storage unit and one flood of a house that I was staying in, that all of my belongings were flooded up to 17 inches of bad water. So, and he was in that one. I had all of my binders that had all of my patterns that I showed in my first few videos. All of those are gone. So he's made it, and so he's very important, and I'm going to work on him. Bear with me while I reach. I started this pattern, Cherished Stitches. I can't talk today. 1776. I don't know how to get rid of the glare. There we go. It's just a beautiful. I love the flowers. I love the flower pot. I love the birds. Of course, the reference to 1776. I did not mean to show you the color key there. But this is one I started in the DMC stash dive conversion, and I have lost the color list of what I was using, because I started this in May of 2019. How I remember that, I don't know. But so this is what I have done of it so far. Is I have the center top flower and one side, and then I have a lot of the green work done. So I don't know if I want to frog this red out and just use a different red, and then finish with the different red I choose for the rest of the pattern, and then just find a different green for those 2 leaves. Or frog it all. Or just turn the fabric upside down and restart it, and then figure out if I want 2 of them, which that would not bother me to have 2, and just restart it with whatever colors I have. I'm really drawn to this color. It's Williamsburg Red by Weeks Dye Works, and it's a very beautiful burgundy cranberry red. And so I was almost kind of thinking, because it to me screams kind of more what this chenille or whatever trim they used. So I'm almost thinking that I kind of want to make this maybe my flowers, and then whenever I get somebody to sew it into a pillow for me, make the maybe the fabric and the trim a little bit lighter. So this color is speaking to me, which is one reason why I'm thinking of just flipping the fabric over, starting it again, and someday maybe having 2 if I can find the rest of the threads that go with it, or can figure out the colors that I was using. So if I'm restarting it, that is going to be my red, white, blue piece for July 4th, and in that case I'll be starting it after I get these videos done, or tomorrow morning, depending on how late it takes me tonight to get done. Because I want I'm almost done showing you everything, but there's some things I need to do before I can stitch tonight. I have been trying to start this pattern all year. I selected this pattern for the Daily 30 group to be one of 3 patterns that I would focus on for the year. We were to pick something that had lots of different, we had no idea what the theme was going to be, so we had to pick patterns that would have multiple themes in them so that they could pretty much go with everything. So I went something had a lot of different colors, had a lot of different items in it, and then the theme is we have to match to books. So now I'm having a really hard time. The 3 patterns I've chosen are not real easy to match to books. So I've done nothing in this yearly event yet, and I really want to. And until I kind of finish one of the 3 projects, I can't insert a different one. So I had a piece of fabric for this, and I started it here in the center with this sun, and I had it on a piece of I think it's Cherry Vanilla Cherry Vanilla by Weeks Dye Works, and I had it cut at this shop I used to go to, and somehow miscommunication, it's a 28 count, and I was expecting to do it over 2, and they measured it for over 1. So I was like, well, I'll try and do it over 1. I mean, I'll try 28 count over 1. And because this sun is so full, and he does have multiple colors within him. He's got like 6 stitches and 6 stitches and 6 stitches. Like there's 3 different colors inside the sun, and then another color, the rim of the sun, and then another color, the petals of the flower, because now he's not just the sun, he's also a flower. So it wasn't going to work. There was no way I was going to be able to complete this whole thing stitching that way. So I went to Silver Needle in June and got to meet some great ladies. If you've seen some of my previous videos, I had just some little snippet videos I took. I was going up for 3 things. One was to meet some people I had met online in a group. So, hi Tina. Hi C. And then I wanted to introduce my friend that I stay with. I wanted to introduce her to the flosstube, to the stitching shop, Silver Needle, and I wanted to, she's a member of the same group, and so I wanted her to meet these people as well. And then 3, I wanted to find fabric for this. So I originally was not going to do it on purple. I was going to do it on pink. And when I got to the shop, I just didn't find a pink that I liked. So I went with purple. And I went with, it's 28 count Peaceful Purple. And it's not the same color they chose. They chose antique. They chose 30 count antique hydrangea or 28 count Provence lavender. So I'm doing 28 count weeks even weave. I don't know if it's even weave or linen. It looks like there's pretty even stitches, but it looks like there might be some slubbiness. So I don't know which it's considered. But I'm going to start this here in July. This is going to be kind of a major July start for me. I want to see how far I can get on it. I'm not making it a focus because I have all of these other things I need to get a lot of stitches in, but I want to get some considerable progress. I'm not going to start on the yellow sunflower because I kind of just don't want to go down that realm right now. So I'm going to start on the M. On the left, the white M. I really want to see which shade of white I'm going to like best on the purple. I think it calls for just 3865, so I guess that's the winter white. So I'm going to see if I like that, or if I want it to be brighter with white, or if I want to be really bright with B5200. There's so much white on here because the S is white, this M is white, and the R is white. So there's so much white on here. I want to get that part right. How I like it before I kind of do the rest of it. I just really want to make sure I get the white that I like on this shade of purple. So I'm going to go ahead and start there. And, you know, kind of just start here and work on this M. And then maybe come down here and do the radishes. Just to make sure that top to bottom. I mean, she measured it, I measured it, she measured it. Like, we've measured it 3 times each to make sure it's going to work. But just, I want to make sure I can do it over 2 and that it's going to fit. So, that's, I haven't fully kitted up the colors yet because it's going to really depend on which white I choose. If I need to change something, like I think that this also might be white in with this stripe here, but it almost looks like it might be a different shade. So, and like, you know, in this M that goes side by side, the stripe here and these stripes, I don't know if those are also the same white or if those are maybe ecru or something, 712 or something. So I want to really pick my white before I do finish kitting up the rest of it and figuring out what other colors. I know white goes with everything, but I just want to make sure that I don't do the rest of it and then have to frog white around other things. I'd rather frog it before I have other things around it than have other things around it and try to frog it out. I guess that's just the best way to put it. So the last thing I have is the piece of fabric. So I have been wanting to do Mirabilia's Nightingale forever. I've never purchased the pattern because it has always intimidated me. I've only done one Mirabilia so far, and it had already been mostly done by someone else. I have never beaded it yet. I did finish the stitching and back stitching on it, but it took me a long time, and I was still, as much as I love them and want to do them, I did not purchase Nightingale because I was scared of screwing it up. Was watching some floss tubers who had gone down to the Stitching Sirens retreat in San Antonio, and they had a couple of them were from the Houston area, and there is a stitching group up there. And at one time I thought I would be living in that area, so I joined the group. I have never actually been to any of their meetups because I did not end up moving there. But I maintained my membership because they're very welcoming and they're allowing me to do that because I do anticipate, going through Houston every once in a while and stopping by and meet up. So, anyway, long story. So a few of them that were down there fell in love with Nightingale. I guess one of the ladies already had the pattern, had started it, or some others. They all decided that they were going to start Mirabilia's Nightingale on July 1st, so a few days ago. They decided this, I guess, at the Stitching Sirens retreat, which had been near the end of June. So I knew I did not have time to purchase the fabric, kit her up, and get her started by July 1st. So I was looking at some monumental dates. It's a pattern that is reference to Florence Nightingale, and so it's the referencing her as the lady with the lamp, because she was always going in the dark to help the wounded. They have her kind of in a flying angel position, because there are some who called her an angel because she just appeared in the evening with light. So and she did the work that no one else wanted to do or could do. So I was trying to look at maybe a date in her life to start it, since I'm obviously not going to be able to start with the ladies that started this month. And I was looking at, maybe her birthday. That's already passed. That was in May. I was looking at maybe the date that she received her Royal Red Cross from Queen Victoria. I was trying to look at maybe the date that her museum opened in the UK. And then, of course, there's her death date. And so none of those dates were really screaming to me. Like the next date would be her death date in August. And I kind of did not want to start it on anniversary of her death date. The other thing about it is, it's a very bright piece. She's in, China blues with golds, very bright. The fabric that she was put on in the picture appears to be like a brighter greenish look, or some of them move it to a sand, which is kind of like a drab brown. And it just didn't, she wouldn't have worn anything that bright. She wouldn't have been that bright, because most of the work was her either in the dark, working on the wounded in the dark, or going through the dark to get to the building they were in to work on them. So there was a darkness involved. Of course, the biggest thing she was originally known for, as far as nursing, was her work during the Crimean War. So that's kind of the period that I equate with her, although there's so much she did in her life. So many things she was responsible for creating and doing, and her story is fantastic. And I'm not a nurse. I do have nurses in my family. I have very good friends that are nurses, and it's a profession I think is very underappreciated. I know I myself have had some excellent nurses take care of me. I've also had some that I know it's the profession they never should have got in. They're just I think it takes a special person to be a nurse.